It is another beautiful day here in Virginia. Got a high of 88 degrees. There's a nice cool breeze blowing in. I'm sheltered from it pretty nicely here. Right now I'm heading down Powhatan Creek. Then I'm gonna get onto Back River, ride the tide out on that into the thoroughfare, at which point the tide will start to flood and I can go up the Back River underneath Highway 199. Be fun, about 10 miles round trip. Let's go. So here we are now in Sandy Bay, which is very shallow. Powhatan Creek empties into this right back there, which is where Jamestown Marina is. And that is the entrance to the Back River, which is short. I always assumed it was a creek until I looked that up. And that is the little bridge that lets you out into the James River. You feel like going that way. And that's a very narrow spit of land that leads out to Jamestown Island. So right now I'm riding the ebb tide out. Low tide's at 3 o'clock. It's like a mean lower low, so it is quite low. And this bay gets very, very shallow. You can see right there, there's some seagulls hanging out on some of it that gets exposed at low tide. So it is a good idea to come in here at low tide if you're really going to go over every inch of it, because you might clip on some things at high tide. And here there's a lot of snags down on this side too. All right, let's get into Back River. Here we are continuing along Back River towards the thoroughfare. See some bigger clouds around. It's supposed to maybe sprinkle a little later, which is totally welcome by me because it's kind of hot. Wind's pushing me towards this shore while the tide slips me along sideways to it. Back River's pretty interesting because it kind of meets the thoroughfare, which is a major opening for the James. That's where the tide ebbs out into and floods up from. However, the Back River then continues up to the left essentially as you're coming out this way. So it has the exact opposite cycle. You can go down it on an ebb and have to fight your way up the other arm of it. So we're timing it to go out to the thoroughfare on an ebb tide, ride the flood tide up the second half of Back River till it narrows out, turn around, fight the flood tide back, but then get flooded back up this part of Back River through Sandy Bay and up Powhatan Creek a little bit into Jamestown Marina again. Here we are coming out of Back River towards the thoroughfare. You see how it's starting to widen up. This last little narrow bit next to me. I'm standing right now, so I'm not swiveling too far. A cloud's finally covered the sun for me, so I'm cooling down, which feels really nice. I should probably put another layer of sunscreen on the back of my calves. They feel a little burny. About 2.5 miles into our 10-mile paddle. So to continue on now, we go under that bridge. That's where Back River restarts essentially. We're about at slack tide now. It's definitely like 8 minutes till it turns around, I think, but it's obviously going to hang out slack a bit past that here. Gentle breeze is pushing me off. This is the thoroughfare. There's a guy casting net over there and waders. And there's the James. This is absolutely perfect right now. I'm back in the thoroughfare heading towards that first part of Back River I came down. The water in that second part was really dirty. I didn't want to mess about with getting the camera out. Went about 1.5 miles up it. It got really shallow. My paddle started hitting the ground, so I turned around and came back. I'm at mile 7 right now. Got some day markers behind me there. The current's flooding us up nicely. I'm just drifting along. There's also a slight wind at my back, which is cooling it down, which is very welcome because it was starting to get really hot again. I'm about to reapply some sunscreen.